Hey guys, it's Bonnie. Today I'm here to talk about my winter reading wrap-up. Basically, I'm going to be sharing with you all the books that I read from December to February. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on all of them. You can check out my weekly reading vlogs because I don't do monthly wrap-ups, but I do have reading vlogs. In those, I talk more about all the books that I read throughout, you know, whenever. I mean, they're not always like weekly, but just whenever I have enough footage to put one up. But just to have a more comprehensive what I read recently kind of thing, I thought I would do these sort of seasonal little wrap-ups. So what I'm going to do is show you the books, tell you my star rating, and then I'll talk about my 2 least favorite and my 2 favorites. December was a very bad reading month for me, and I only read 2 books and they're in the same series. So I read Prodigy and Champion, both by Marie Lu. I gave this one 3 stars and I gave this one 3.5 stars. Then in January, kicking off 2018, I read Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman, and I gave this 3 stars. Then I read Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, the last book of hers that I have to read. Can she please put out a new book already? And I gave this one 4 stars. Then I binge read the entire Burn for Burn trilogy by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. I gave Burn for Burn 3 stars, Fire with Fire 3.5 stars, and Ashes to Ashes 2 stars. Then I read The Cuckoo's Calling by J.K. Rowling, which I gave 3.5 stars. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, which I gave 5 stars. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, 4 stars. Someday Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham, 3.5 stars. And concluding January is The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West, which I gave 2 or 2.5 stars. Then in February, I started the month out with The Winter's Curse by Marie Ratowski, which I gave 2 stars. Then I read Landline by Rainbow Rowell, which I gave 3.5 stars. Then we have Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock, which I gave 4 stars. Immortal Rain, which I gave 5 stars, 4.5, somewhere very close to a 5 star. I started The Conqueror's Saga by Kirsten White, which is And I Darken and Now I Rise. I gave And I Darken 5 stars, and I gave Now I Rise 4.5 stars. Then, because the movie was coming out, I finally read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, which I gave 4.5, like pretty much a 5-star book, but I think on Goodreads I said 4.5. And last in February, I read The Conspiracy of Us trilogy by Maggie Hall. This consists of The Conspiracy of Us, which I gave 3 stars, Map of Fates, which I gave 3.5 stars, and The Ends of the World, which I also gave 3.5 stars, but very close to a 4. So those are all of the books that I have read for the past 3 months. I've been doing really great this new year. I'm so proud of myself. I'd like to thank audiobooks. Love you. Again, if you want more of my thoughts on these books instead of just my star ratings, you can check out my reading vlogs, or you can check out my Goodreads because I normally put down some kind of review. But I am going to talk for a minute about my 2 least favorites and my 2 favorites that I read. My first least favorite, as I hinted at, was Ashes to Ashes by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. Oh my god, just thinking about this book still makes me angry, honestly. Now this series, I didn't have a huge connection to it. As you see, I gave the first book 3 stars and the second book 3.5 stars. It wasn't like an amazing series for me. But I feel like the second book really progressed it, and if I hadn't kind of been spoiled on the plot twist, it probably would have been a 4 stars. This book just dropped everything that it had going for it, the series. Not only that, but the first like half of this book or so was pretty good. Like, I thought it was gonna be a solid ending, but then literally like the last chapter like is just basically everything concludes in a few pages, and it's a horrible conclusion. It leads up so much just to end so quickly, and it literally just destroys everything that happened in this book and the whole series. Like, the whole point, it was just gone without a good explanation. This epilogue that happens is trash. I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. I'm gonna write my own ending. Yeah, this was just such a letdown. Normally Jenny Han does not disappoint me, but this was a huge disappointment. Man, I'm gonna be mad about this for a while, sorry. My second least favorite was probably The Winter's Curse by Marie Ratowski, just because the hype for this is so real, so I think my expectations were pretty high and then it just went. I'm not angry about this book. There isn't things wrong with it like Ashes to Ashes where I was mad at what happened or anything. It was just boring. I had no connection to the characters and everyone has talked endlessly about this series saying how great it is and I just don't see it. So the hype maybe ruined this a little bit for me, but I just don't understand what y'all love about this series. Sorry. Getting a little more positive, moving on to my two favorites. The first is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Oh, this book was absolutely fantastic. Oh my god. I'm mad that it took me so long to read this, but I'm glad that I finally did because it was just amazing. It was so beautiful. Jandy Nelson's writing is so subtle and her stories are so understated. And it's just perfect. Like, she doesn't need big dramatics. She doesn't need super like cheesy, right? I mean, it could be a little cheesy, but I think it's beautiful, so fuck off if you don't. I'm kidding, but still. This is just such a great story of these two twins and the way it's told and the characters. I love it. I can't even talk comprehensively about it because it was just so good. If you haven't read this, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Also, Guillermo in this book. I love him so much. And my other favorite book from this round of reading is And I Darken by Kirsten White. No surprise if you watch my reading vlogs. This book, this series is fantastic. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it, raving about it, screaming about it. I'm so thankful that Whitney pushed me to read it because I never would have read it if she hadn't, and it's now one of my all-time favorites. So the characters in this are just incredible. It's a historical fiction Vlad the Impaler retelling where Vlad is Lada, our main female protagonist, and we also follow her brother Radu, who is the sweetest cinnamon roll on the planet. This book kind of starts off when they're children and we get to see them grow, and I just absolutely loved that. And the plot is good, the characters are amazing, some of my all-time favorite characters now, and the writing is beautiful, and I love this. It's so good. If you haven't read it, again, you need to. It's so amazing. The last book comes out in July, and I'm so sad that it's ending, but it's gonna be so good. So that is it for this winter reading wrap-up thing. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I read and what you thought of them, or let me know your least favorite and favorite books that you've read during this winter season. We're heading into spring now, slowly but surely. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.